Why, 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 can you tell me why? Why, can you tell me why? Why, 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 can you tell me why? Why you hate me and my people, what we do to you? What we gave to your people was a servitude. Why, can you tell me why? 40 acres in the mule, that's what they said we do. We built a statue on our back, how could you be so cruel? 40 acres in the mule, that's what they said we do. Pursue the happiness and things they call American dreams, but why it seems like American schemes? 40 decades later and still none of them things. They still vote to call us human. I'm bigger than a thing. Used to have us on the block and they was selling us off. Then that was outlawed, so they became the law. Now we still on the block, but instead of selling us off, they rather round us up so they can kill us all. Why you hate me in the world that my people built? How we savage in the world when we showed you how to live with the slaves' breast milk that they used to feed their kids. But today we gotta fight in court just to see our kids. One shack in the back where they gave us to live. Now they buying up the city where the people supposed to live. Is it gentrification or depopulation? My people better stop what you blowing from the lake. Why, can you tell me why? Why you hate me and my people, what we do to you? All we gave to your people was a servitude. Why, can you tell me why? 40 acres in the mule, that's what they said we do. We built a statue on our back, how could you be so cruel? As a kid, young Tut ruled with all power. Solomon owned his mind, that was diamond power. Mansa Musa was the richest king in world history, but they teach us we were slaves and call it black history. Egypt only gets a mention cause it fell to conquer. The Romans went and stole the history, but called us monsters. Shot their nose off the springs cause they felt imposter. Our black face on the line was a show of power. How they came to be the ones who supposed to be in power when everything they got was already ours. We the gods amongst men like Anubis, Osiris. Animal faces on a black man's body. Why you think they love the haters? Cause they know we got bodies. Why you think they women love us? Cause we got the god bodies. So they make us hate each other and fear the camaraderie. And anyone who tries to lead, they gon' body. Why, can you tell me why? Why you hate me and my people, what we do to you? All we gave to your people was a servitude. Why, can you tell me why? 40 acres in the mule, that's what they said we do. We built a statue on our back, how could you be so cruel? I just want my people to be great. Even dead or in jail, that shouldn't be my son's fate. And even worse, I got daughters. Man, I'm trying to be supportive, but they garnish my wage, make me a slave, and it's court order. This another way to lock us down in cages. Babies running wild, man, we gon' raise them. Damn, it's still a part of their bigger plan. I try to tell my baby mother, but she can't understand. She say it's easier to get it from the white man, plum dumb. You playing right into their white hands. Ain't no true at the house if you ain't got a man. So when they call for martial law, they can come and take it all. And if it's just you and your kids, how you gonna make a stand? Damn, it's all just a part of their plan. Why? Damn, part of their plans. Tell me why. Why, can you tell me why? Why you hate me and my people, what we do to you? All we gave to your people was a servitude. Why, can you tell me why? 40 acres in the mule, that's what they said we do. We built a statue on our back, how could you be so cruel?
What's good? What's good? How's everybody doing? How is everybody doing? Shout out to Frank. I already see you in there early. What's good, man? How's everything doing with you? How is your day going, man? How's the gym? How's everything doing? We talk about your G-Men in a second. Anybody has any questions at all, please feel free to chime in. Let us know how you feel. We'll have a discussion. I don't argue, but we can have a discussion. Sounds good to me. We'll have some fun. What's good, everybody? How's everyone doing? I am Truth. This is Jets Fan Views, where I go over Jets sports from a fan's point of view, which is a little different than what other people's doing, how they're going about doing things. And there's no disrespect to them or how they do or what they do. Again, this is just me and the way I view things and the way I want to go about it. Y'all, excuse me, I'll be up and down. I got a couple of different chats going here at one time, but I will get to it. So feel free to have any discussion, even if you see this at a later date. Feel free to still chime in and let us know how you feel. Like I said, you could, have a discussion about your team. It doesn't have to be about my team. All right, so got a couple of pointers I want to point out today as far as what's going on. As you see the title, two in a row. So again, shout out to all those real Jet fans out there. Laying down, Frank. Come on, man. You're supposed to be up and ready. Um, Shout outs again to the real Jet fans out there. And again, anybody who's seen a couple of my shows or my podcasts, what's been going on, how I do, I pretty much despise any fake fans, and it's no disrespect to them or what they do. They do it the way they want to do it, and they have their own opinion. But me personally, I can't respect any person. Well, I would say like this. I just don't think that anyone who is a true fan of that particular organization, whoever it is, not just the Jets, should ever root for their team to lose just to hope that they draft one specific player. And you guys catch my last show where I kind of like really showed everyone from an overall perspective of the top 50 college quarterbacks of all times and how they fared in NFL. And only 9 out of the 50 actually won the championship. And that's what it's about. It's not about making it to the playoffs. It's not about, having, you know, multiple, 10 plus win seasons and all that stuff. No, the goal is to win the Super Bowl, not to win a whole bunch of games and not ever go to the dance or the trip. And, we only have one and we want more. All right, so I want to just jump right into it. So first, again, I said I got a lot of things going on here. Mind me, I apologize. I wanted to start off, and I wanted to first congratulate the Jets on their second victory in a row. I'll talk about that a little more in a second, but I want to give a shout out to Mr. Frank Bush. And I really wasn't sure what I was actually going to see or what the Jets were actually going to be able to put out on the field every single week. I liked it. I really liked Williams. I think his aggressive nature fit us, and then I got proven wrong within a couple of week period. You have a man, Frank Bush, who has less than Williams had the entire season or multiple seasons, and he has these young guys playing within the 3-week period that he has had him. The first one, he was still trying to fill things. I thought he should have been a little more aggressive and, you're trying to do some extra pieces. And then the second week, he was in charge of the defense. He moves off the Millette to safety, free safety, moves May down to strong safety. And since that happened, we haven't got beat deep yet. Not once did we get beat with an overhead. All right, so what you got here, Frank? You can get a good analyst where your team stands if you tank properly. We'll go over that in a second. He says Herman Edwards said you played to win the game, and I agree with you, man. I understand a lot of individuals are discussing how they feel, how good they feel Trevor Lawrence is, and I understand in college he's tearing it up, he's doing his thing, but again, I don't feel that you would as much help as we need on the defensive side of the ball. The offensive side of the ball, I don't think we need as much help as we need on the defensive side of the ball. Like we're playing like hella rookies, and the oldest guy is number 97 who is playing out is Shepard, who's playing out the yard right now. So I just don't want the Jets to make the similar mistakes they've been making repeatedly over and over and over and over again. And I'm not saying Sam Darnold is the greatest quarterback of all times, but he proved last week that he was the best quarterback in that game. I also go back and I tell people when the 2018 hit, at the time the Jets had Teddy Bridgewater on the roster for 2 years already, and you didn't have to trade him to the Saints. You didn't have to trade away multiple picks who are on the Colts, who are Pro Bowlers, and the what two are Pro Bowlers, and the other one is a hell of a player. And those are players that were selected with the Jets picks. And we could have stayed pat. We could have had Teddy Bridgewater, and we would have drafted Josh. Oh gosh, Josh Allen, who's killing it right now with the right coaching staff out there in Buffalo. But I still think Sam Darnold was the best quarterback of the bunch. Let me see what else we got right here. So back to what I was saying about Mr. Bush. The last 2 weeks, 2 out of the 3 weeks, you've seen again. We haven't been getting beat deep. We've been stuffing a run. We've been keeping everything in front of us, and there's been some really good short tackling. I was a little bit worried going into last week's game with Cleveland and the fact that they have the third best run offense in the NFL right now with that double-headed monster they have over there with Chuck and oh gosh, oh the gentleman. Okay, I forgot the guy's name. I won't really get into much of it. I apologize, but again, we have those two-headed monsters, and both of them are very good backs, and we held them to 34 yards total rushing. You go back the week prior, and Akers wasn't able to run rapid on us. Again, we kept everything in front of us. The defense still had a lot of pressure. They had a lot of penetration. They had sacks. They had fumble recoveries. They had fumbles. They had balls batted down. You had the special teams come up with a block punt. So it looks like the team, as far as the defensive side of the ball, is playing better. And also on the offensive side of the ball, they're playing better. Now, this is not going to save Gase one bit. But I looked and I saw, especially with the Rams game, where you actually saw when you win against the opponent, you see that they actually really planned for it. When you're going against a pass rush like the Rams had, and you got Sam Darnold getting the ball out of his hand within a second, 1.2 seconds, getting it out, not letting that pass rush get up on all the way up into Darnold's face. But Becton didn't have that greatest a game when it came to the run game. Obviously, he's still learning when it comes to the pass. Gave up 2 sacks. One, I think, is Darnold's fault. Again, he holds the ball way too often, way too long. But the other one, but you're going against Garrett, I mean, other than Arnold, who, I would say he's the second, if not the best defensive lineman in the game. And, he pretty much held his own. And for a rookie, I think he did pretty good. But I want to get back to Bush. And I want to say, I'm not sure who. What do you have here? I think Gase messed Darnold. I wouldn't say Gase messed Darnold up. And I understand a lot of people are saying that, and you hear that a lot when it comes from, people looking in. And I would just say and let's go back to Buffalo and go back to the situation we had with Josh Allen, who the first 2 years had the worst quarterback completion in the NFL. And you get him into the same system twice, 2 years in a row, and you get the right offensive players around. What do? They go out and they trade for Diggs. They surround him with, now they need a better running game. I give them that. But they got a good tight end. They got a good passing game. I figure they'll pick up another running back or do something different in this year's draft. They'll be able to pick something up good. But you look at what happened when you surround a quarterback like Josh Allen in the right system, putting him with the right supporting cast, as everyone like to say. This guy is right now, I think his percentage is about 67 point something, but it's 68. So if you can bring the right coach in, if they decide to keep on Darnold, who I'd say you keep him, you either trade the two pick away or you draft the offensive tackle out of Oregon. But we'll get into that in a later date. But you surround, and also what you've seen the last couple of weeks with Donald, you'll see the three-headed monster when it comes for the passing game, which means now everyone's playing cover two because they don't want to get beat by the speed. Because we proved both wide receivers can get down the field. Crowder proves, what's good, young lady? Thank you very much. Crowder has all proved that he's an underneath beast, and you got to respect Mims, and you got to respect Perriman for running right by you. And then Herndon had two good games, and hopefully that'll help his confidence for the next year. And then you got the running game going. So now instead of everyone doing what they normally would do when they would go against the Jets, they would load the box up and dare him to throw. And now you're scared for him to throw because you got guys that are talented as at the wide receiver position. Josh Allen, yeah, he fumbles a lot. I will say that he does. He needs to protect the ball better. But they just won the AFC East Conference. So even with all of the fumbles and everything that's going around, they still winning so many games that it made up for it. And they got their defense doing enough to keep everything afloat. And, right now they got some weapons out there. They're scary. And you got to respect that. So hopefully in this year's draft, if they do decide, well, whether they decide to keep Darnold or pick someone up in the later rounds, I don't think it'll be the first round. I really don't, unless they trade back. Maybe into like the 7th, 8th, ninth pick. We'll really see what happens there. But if you really look at it, the Jets, this upcoming draft, we have 2 first-round picks, a second-round pick, 2 third rounds, 1 fourth, 2 fifth, and a 7th. They trade back. Obviously, they accumulate more. But whoever comes in as far as their head coach, I think you might really want to take a real hard look at Frank Bush. This man has got these young players to play their tails off. That defense is looking like where everyone's saying where was this the last 13 weeks, 14 weeks? They're playing aggressive. They're not getting beat deep. They're keeping everything in front of them. They're harassing the quarterback. I really would like the next head coach that comes in to really look at this gentleman, what he's actually was able to accomplish. And I say you might want to keep this man around. I'm not saying you really want him to run your defense, but I would say you would want to keep somebody who's respected in the coaching staff already, who's already has shown some good qualities. What you got, Frank, here? The problem with the Jets is that they always happen with them that they come together late in the season, then they lose 10. So it's hard to get a good feel. No, I agree with you on that one. And I mean, the last, even if, I'll talk about the Patriots, we play them. Even if we play them and win and actually beat them, I don't see this saving Adam Gase under any situation. He could have won 5-6 in a row. It wouldn't have saved his job. It's over for him. Sam Darnold has about, less than 2,000 passing yards for the entire season, even though he missed a couple of games. That's unheard of. That's unheard of. The only reason he got this position in the first place is because the Jets listened to Peyton, even though nobody else really wanted him. He's this whisperer and all this other stuff. I mean, it just didn't pan out. It really hasn't worked out at all on any standpoint. So nothing to save his job. I think them playing at the end of the season, especially the way things had happened to where they lost all these games in a row, and then they started winning last week, and then this week, it shows heart. At the end of the day, they're young, and no, they don't want to go home to their kids like Basham said, and I'm a loser. You have guys who really care, young guys who really care. So it's not like everyone folded in and all this other things you're hearing, and, everyone's saying lose for Trevor Lawrence and all this other situation. No, I'm sorry. So I think the next person that comes in, I think you really need to look at Frank Bush. I think you really need to give that gentleman an opportunity, a chance. to stay in. This man's been drafted as a linebacker. Has been coaching for about 29, 30 years. Been in the NFL 34 years. Was a linebacker coach. And if you look at it from the standpoint, let's even go back to last year where you lose Mosley pretty much the first game. You bring Hewitt in, and you had just makeshift linebackers, and he made it work. So it wasn't like just him stepping in as the interim signal caller that he's done, Sturb. The Jets defense, as far as the linebackers, with the talent we have stood up pretty well. So I really look forward to seeing what he'll be able to do this week with a team that really doesn't have a great passing like the Cleveland Browns, and I don't want to hear all these excuses. 15 million wide receivers out. At the end of the day, this is the NFL. This isn't a Pop Warner. This isn't guys having a pickup game in the park. I'm not trying to hear all those excuses. And it wasn't the Jets' fault that the coach of the Browns decided to throw Darnell 60 times when he didn't have the wide receivers. He should have kept running. But show up again to where we kept that third best rushing offense to 34 points. Sorry. Can't give it to him. Can't give it to him. All right, so again, I want to applaud them for playing hard, for putting a true Jess. What you said? I heard that J.J. Watts. He said what? What did J.J. say? But I want to applaud them for not giving up, for playing hard, for continually going out. Even though when everyone's begging you and asking you to lose, and they don't care how you feel mentally, they want what they want, and it's just a sad situation. So just some numbers for the game. Baker Mayfield had 53 passes, y'all. 53 passes he attempted. Sam Darnold attempted 32, had 2 touchdowns. I don't care if Sam Darnold throws for 5,000 yards in one game. The 2 touchdowns is what I like to see. And the exclamation point is 0 turnovers. Can't beat that. All right. So I also want to give a round of applause to Frank Gore. Shout out to Frank Gore, the third running back in NFL history to have 16,000 yards. So I applaud you. I thank you for the time and effort you put into this season. Your career with the Jets, as far as I would think and know, would be over. You will not be playing Week 17. And I don't know if this is your last game, but if it is, you have exactly 16,000 yards. And you are definitely a Hall of Famer. You're going to the Hall of Fame without the championships and everything else. Prime example of what you would want as a player on your team. So shout out to him and what he's been able to accomplish in his career. Shout out to him. Now, let's get into this whole Trevor Lawrence situation. What you got here? Let's say Baker Mayfield showed Trub. What do you mean showed Trub? You got to listen to the press conference. He literally got sick and tired of being there in Texas. Well, I mean, I'm not sure what's going to happen in Texas. What I can say right now, they allowed Bill O'Brien to run that franchise into the ground. He's definitely a Hall of Fame. I agree with you, Frank. They allowed Bill O'Brien to run that franchise in the ground. They've had, I mean, how in the world do you trade Hopkins for anything? Year before last, that man did not drop a pass. And when does he ever drop a pass? Man is the best wide receiver. I don't care who you want to bring in, who you want to compare to. That man has been consistent from day one, and you traded him away for peanuts. It's pretty much what you did, for peanuts. But they allowed that man to run that franchise into the ground. I'm not sure, what's going to happen with Watts. I'm not going to, it really all depends as far as the Jets standpoint, who the head coach is going to be. Is he going to run a 3-4 or 4-3, which I think the Jets with the defensive line that they have, where you have big defensive athletic linemen. Like imagine putting Williams on the outside with Basham or number 91. I forgot his name. It's on the tip of my tongue. St. Paul or whatever on the outside, and you put what you got, Foley and Shepard in the middle at that front. You can't run on it. You can't pass on it because you got big guys that can get pressures. It's scary that would be. So him coming here, I'm not sure. I know from a standpoint, the Jets are going to have either the most or the second most cap room of any team in the NFL coming up in this upcoming offseason. So we'll see what happens with that. But I want to get to this Trevor Lawrence situation, and shout out to Ryan Clark because he made a great point. The Trevor Lawrence sweepstakes, was it a bigger loss for the Jets or was it a bigger loss to Trevor Lawrence? I want to hear your guys' opinion on that. And he made a wonderful, wonderful point, so shout out to him. If you look at the Jacksonville Jaguars as a whole, they're just as dysfunctional as the the Texans, where you have all that talent and then they always gets traded away. Every single player that they have had, they let walk or they traded away or they alienated them so bad that they didn't even want to sign in them with their defensive end, best pass rusher they had, didn't even want to resign. And you get into a Twitter war battle with the owner. With the owner. With all the picks they've done, all the great linebackers, great defensive linemen, the wide receivers, they let walk or they traded away. So this is what Trevor Lawrence is going into. Instead of going into a franchise with the Jets when you finally have the best general manager, and I don't care what anyone else says about it, this man learned under Isaac Newsom. I will always give Joe Douglas credit. He showed in his first draft he knows how to select players who aren't me mentality. They show up, they play hard, and he got a steal getting Hall in the 5th round because of his injury. And Becton is the best of all three tackles that were drafted, especially the two that got drafted before him. And you're a Giant fan, Frank. Yeah, tackle ain't doing as well as Becton is doing. The Cleveland Browns, I mean, he didn't play, but he's not doing as well as Becton is doing. So he showed in the draft the man knows how to pick. Lest we say here, Trevor Lawrence sounds like he's gonna be a drag. I don't know. I read something today, and I didn't save it, and I apologize. And they're saying he might still try to do a Eli Manning to try to get to the Jets by trying to make sure the Jaguars don't draft them, even though they have the first pick. And part of what I was saying prior is the reason why. He said at one point the Jaguars had a top 10 defense. They had a great running backs. They had great defense and a great offense. I mean, Blake Bortles wasn't the greatest quarterback in the world. But at the end of the day, if the Ravens can win with Dilfer, who wasn't the greatest quarterback in the world, by relying on their defense, the Jaguars should have with all that talent that they had. But he put a point that you have Trevor Lawrence going to a franchise that is in disarray. They don't have as much going on for them as the Jets have as far as they don't even have a GM. They don't have a head coach. They don't have anything now. Everything is starting from zero. And yes, you're coming in with the number 1 pick and you're going in with a lot of cap room. The Skins are in quarterback hell. You never know, man, but they're so far back. I mean, as a Jets being at the top 2 pick, do you want to trade back that far back and let them? I mean, they would have to give up a lot of stuff for us to trade back that far. I think they have the 9th or 10th pick. I could be wrong. But that's going from 2 to 10. That's a lot, man. I don't know if we're going to go back that far. But, he's going to a situation where the owner gets into it with the players. That locker room's a disarray. That's the situation he's going to. So the only thing you can say good about him going to the Jacksonville Jaguars is that there's no state tax. I'm saying that. That's the only thing Jaguars have going for them right now is that there's no state tax. Instead of the Jets, who have a great general manager, who's well respected, and even though we don't have the first pick, there are a lot of coaches that want to come, that would be eager to come in here and actually coach this team that has the amount of picks we have, not just this year, but next year also, with the cat room we have, a lot of coaches would run for that. You put Sam Darnold in the right system, getting that ball out of his hands quick, not giving him an opportunity to overthink, to pump and double clutch, get the ball out of his hands, get him some weapons, he'll light somebody up. I guarantee you. So it's not as all that old Trevor Lawrence might go back to college. He doesn't want to go to the Jets. Are you out of your freaking mind? Are you out of your mind? New York is the media capital of the world. The endorsements this man would have got or will get if he tries to do it, Eli, by coming to New York would take that no state tax and wipe his behind with it. The amount of money he would be able to make being the blonde head, long hair, a white boy with swag, California, all that other stuff, come to this New York media and flourish in and the amount of you can't go a day without seeing 5 Baker Mayfield progressive commercials. They're funny as hell. I like them. But if he could have that, imagine what Trevor Lawrence would have coming to the Jets. What do you got, Frank? Here, that's what you would do when you want to get your favorite franchise quarterback, put yourself in a position to get him. And I feel you, but at the end of the day, the Jaguars gonna put him in the right situation to succeed. Again, you have an owner who's getting into a Twitter war in words with players. You don't have a general manager. You don't have a coach. Who's going to be there? Who's going to be there? What are they going to do? You have so much more uncertainty with the Jaguars than you do with the Jets. So, yes, I agree with Ryan Clark. Trevor Lawrence is the biggest loser out of this whole being the first pick and him going to going to the Jaguars. How patient are the Jet fans? A lot of them are impatient. They not. You had so many of them. Greeny, Eisen, and all the other ones, and all the guys that do what I do, podcasts, begging the Jets to lose. I mean, that's their opinion, but that's not something I would ever do. Beg my team to lose for a player that hasn't did anything at all in the NFL yet. I don't care what he did in college. That doesn't always transition into a great NFL career. The NFL has proven that over and over again. Washington just let their quarterback go that they drafted after 14, 15, after 2 years, and they're still on the hook on that man $8 million. They're still on the hook for his contract. His contract was totally guaranteed, and they just let him go. Organizations and coaching situations. So I agree with them. Trevor Lawrence is in a worse situation, in a worse place, now going to Jacksonville Jaguars with no kind of certainties than he would the Jets. So now, I don't know if he would be able to do it, Eli. Would they be able to give up on him? I don't think the Jaguars would. It's a crazy situation, but he could still, go back to college. He could do that. That's still an option. Jet fans are fickle. I mean, it's not. It's just, yes, we've dealt with crazy years. Since Rex Ryan took us to the playoff, the AFC Conference Championship 2 years in a row, one game from the Super Bowl, and then we started going downhill over and over and over again. It's just more of a lines of having a bad general manager and a coach that has, you drafted, you brought in Todd Bowles, who's all defense. He has no offensive swag with him at all. Bring in a head coach that can delegate offensively and defensively, and you'll have a head coach. Instead of having someone who's just good with offense, who's just good with defense, and who's just this and who's just that. So it's crazy. So I want to see, and like I said, I have so much respect because he came up behind underneath Ozzie Newsome, and their whole forte was build within the draft. Look at what the Baltimore has been able to do year in and year out, by drafting. And hey, they may not resign everybody, but at the end of the day, they always draft someone to come in and replace that person, so you're not in a bad situation. Frank, right now the Giants look smart. Drafting Daniels since Hopkins. Here's the thing: they weren't going for Hopkins in the first place. I still think to this day the Giants should have drafted Josh Allen, and with their second pick, they would have been able to get Jones because Daniel Jones would have still been there. And the two New York teams keep listening to the Mannings and look at the situation they're fucking in right now. I think as far as the Giants situation, your head coach, I'm sorry, I don't think any head coach that has come out of Belichick or from underneath his tree has had any success. And I don't want you to talk about Vrabel because Vrabel never coached under Belichick. He played of him, but he never coached under him. I don't. I think the man cheats on a level that's crazy. So at the end of the day, what has he shown? What has he really taught? The man has showed year in and year out that he's willing to cheat to win. He's done it repeatedly over and over again. And I don't think the NFL will ever bring it up or show anything because it would destroy the NFL altogether by admitting you know what this man did, which is why whatever tape he did, you filmed, they threw away, they burnt with ether, with jet fuel, you know. So I'm not sure what the Jets are going to do with the whole second pick. We'll obviously talk about that after next week, but we're going to concentrate on this season. But I really wanted to take that time out to point those things out. And again, I am a fan, and I don't care who my team plays. I would never, ever, ever pick my team to lose. So we have the Patriots, our last game of the year, and then our all season starts. 1 o'clock, CBS. The Patriots are 3-point favorites. The Patriots are in a disarray themselves. Belichick has been proven without Brady, he is not the same coach. I think Cam Newton still has a lot of fire in him, but with the way the Patriots continuously over and over again with trying to be as cheap as possible by not surrounding that man with any talent at all. Their first round pick year before last, Henry, is a bust. They have no wide receivers. You have a good running game, but at the end of the day, when you got going against 11 player fronts, who's going to be able to run on that? When you no defense respects your passing game at all. So hopefully, if we bring the same fire we brought in, we'll go out on top with a 3-week victory. Week victory. And, we'll start preparing for the offseason. I figure Gates will be let go the week after. So if we play Sunday, I think about probably before Wednesday, that hammer will come down and they'll start the process. And now what the NFL has allowed this year, because of COVID, they allowed teams to start interviewing people. I know a lot of Jet fans wants Bieniemy, the offensive coordinator from the Kansas City Chiefs. Give me 1 second. Let's see what you got here. You agree on facts, but he's under Bill for years. Judge has it. Well, here's the thing. What I'll say as far as Judge, he was a special teams coach, so his time management week before last wasn't the greatest. And it shows. I'm not saying he can't turn it around. I think when you lose one of the best running backs in Barkley at the beginning of the season, teams play you differently. They don't. They sit back and they double your wide receivers because they don't respect your running game. So I would like to see Judge play a full season with Barkley and have a full season with Barkley and Daniel at the same time. And you guys have been this draft is full of talent, man. Full of talent on offensive and defensive side of the ball. I think this upcoming draft is, oh my gosh, just spectacular. So again, I want to see my team win. I want to see us go out on a bang. I want to see what's going to happen in the off season, what's going on. Give 1 second. Let's see what we got here. All right. So let's see what we got going on here. Also, we got to say Brady struggled to get in the playoffs this year. I wouldn't say it's more of a struggle, and I want people to truly understand their running game was decent. It wasn't the greatest, but it was decent. And I think they need to go out and draft a running back too that fits that system. You need someone who's a real pass catcher, dynamic player, someone who can run after the catch in that system, and we'll see what they can do. But Brady, they're headed to the playoffs. The Patriots aren't. You know what I mean? For the first time in how many years? The Patriots aren't going to the playoffs. Patriots actually have an opportunity to have, let me see here. They have an opportunity to have a losing season for the first time in I don't know how many years. I mean, look at all the first. They're 6-9. Well, they have a losing season. There's nothing they can do. How long has it been since that? You took Brady out of the equation, and Belichick don't look as coach God as everyone puts him up to be. It's kind of crazy. So this offseason is going to be fun. You have a lot of things going on. You have a lot of coaches that going to get fired. And let me go back to the Bieniemy thing. Both Brady and Belichick kind of took hits with each other. I mean, it did, but at the end of the day, Brady's going to the playoffs and Belichick isn't. Year in and year in, Brady always restructured his contract to help the team out. And it kind of like he left, he backfired. I thought they should have just went with the rookie from day one, and I think he should start next week. I mean, because you need to see what he got. You need to see what's coming on. But it looks like they're going to draft a quarterback in this upcoming year anyway. So it's I think the BYU guy looked real good for them. Ooh, sorry. So again, like the Bieniemy, again, I'll get to that. I'm not sold on him. I think he's a wonderful guy. I think he is good, but I'm not sure if the Kansas City Chiefs have a great offense or is it because of Mahomes. He's the one that the offense struggles and then he pulls them out of the fire. So it's just me. I don't know if it's the offense that's great or if it's just Mahomes who's just that on that stratosphere level that he can just get away with pretty much anything. But I'm looking at him a little different this year, especially when they lost to the Rays and he wouldn't even go across the field and shake Carr's hand. He went immediately to the locker room. I know you're used to winning every single week, but you got to show some sportsmanship. I don't know about him, But if I had to say, all right, the coach I want the offensive coordinator for the Bills. He has shown already what he can do with Josh Allen. Imagine what he can do with Sam Darnold with weapons around him. Give me that. I don't want Bieniemy. I know I don't have a say-so, but it's just my opinion. I'm going after the offensive coordinator for the Buffalo Bills. That would be the next head coach of the New York Jets. To me, that's just me. So I want to thank you guys. I don't want to stay up here too much longer. I want to thank everybody for tuning in. Frank, thanks for chilling me and hanging out with me. Everybody else who's in there, everybody who's watching, you're watching it in the future. You don't always have to say anything. I appreciate you just taking the time out your day to chill with me. But if you have any comments, continue to comment. I answer the comments. I don't just let them sit there. You took the time out of your busy schedule to view, to watch, and to hang out with me. I'm going to take the time to go and answer and have the discussion with you guys on a regular basis. Again, thanks again for tuning in. This is Jets Fan Views. I don't have a set time on Tuesdays. I apologize, but, with everything going around, personal life and the business and everything, we got a lot of stuff going on. So Tuesdays is my night. Sometimes I might not be able to make it, but I'll go on. But we're here. I'm here. I'm back. We're gonna have some fun. So again, if you have any topics on these specific players you want me to do some research on, or you want to have a discussion with, again, I don't mind talking about anybody that's not a Jets. Again, I would like to discuss anything with you. I appreciate it. Thank you very much. I'll see y'all guys next week. And again, sorry, shout out to Statewide Chip. That is artist that is managed by True Vibe TV. Shout out to um, Constructicons. Those are guys that produced the track. Make sure you hit them out. My man BR. So again, the music you hear play here will be music that we own. And you won't have to worry about us putting that. We do not own the rights to this music because we do own the rights to this music. Again, y'all, thank you very much.